Hi, fellow traders. What's happening? Man, we had a really good morning. A lot of stocks to choose from, and most of them actually made good moves, and some all day long. So, if you have learned my process and you've been putting it into play, and you had a really good day, based depending on what stocks you chose. But I was really impressed this morning. I got a late start. We did the new chat room today, and the feedback has been phenomenal. I think this is what we're going to be doing from now on. It's just, yeah, you got to get used to it. You got to learn how to manipulate it so that it works for you. But it's real easy to use, and there are some more enhancements coming really soon. But as it is right now, it's really good. So, I was a little late getting in and a little late building my watch list. I kind of felt behind the eight ball a little bit. And it just so happened that the day I start late, we've got all of these stocks to look at. But it was really good. And we're going to look at that here in a minute. But I got one question for you today. Are we the underdogs? Are we the underdogs? As traders, are we the underdogs? Think about it. What we're trying to do, people say, is impossible. It's improbable. It's very challenging. But we're looking to beat the odds. And that's the true definition of what an underdog is seeking to do. And people are not going to be behind us. People are going to be against us. But we can't let that get into our heads. We have to believe that we can beat the odds. That what we're doing is not impossible. It seems impossible. It seems improbable. And it is very challenging. But we can beat the odds. I don't know if you guys know where the name Average Joe came from. But back when I first started learning how to trade, I happened to watch this movie one night, Dodgeball, with Vince Vaughn and Ben Stiller. And it's called Dodgeball, a true underdog story. And I kind of resonated with the path of the underdog, with Vince Vaughn's character. And from then on, I used the name Average Joe because that reminded me of what I needed to do to overcome it. And just to know that, hey, if I'm in the game, it doesn't matter how bad the odds look. If I'm in the game, I can still win. I just have to get that focus, that same focus that Vince Vaughn had in the sudden death round, where he blindfolded himself. You got to have that focus. If you have that, you're going to beat the odds. And, so that's where all this comes from. But remember, guys, we are the underdogs. Less than 10% of people who start trying to learn how to day trade actually make it and actually does this consistently and makes money on a consistent basis. But just know, if you're in the game, you can win. All right, so let's take a look at my trades from today. All right, GBT. And here's a case of me looking at, there were 5 stocks we were looking at. And I'm looking at all 5. None of them really stuck out. NXPT was one that not NXPT. NTNX is the one that kind of dropped from my list as an opening range trade because of how it was trading. But still looking at all these stocks, I missed the 5-minute opening range low. Now, I would have gotten it right in here under this low. I know this is pre-market low right here on this dip, but this was enough room for me to even take this trade. So I would have taken it under here, but this washed so fast, I missed it. So I had to wait And here's the previous 52-week high. It fell all the way through that. So I had to wait for it to set up here under the 50. And I know I was taking a chance on not getting a full move, but this would have been a decent base hit. And I was looking for it to potentially come all the way to the 200. And you've seen in a lot of my trades that's what I'm looking for. In this case, it was set up for that. But I got in. I wanted it to bounce a little bit, but it didn't. It started selling off. It did bounce a little bit, but then it sold off. Once it broke the low of this candle, it was game on. So we got in. I was using the 50 as my guide at this point. And even said, we've got the 52-week high here that I could use as well. So either way, I felt like, either way, I felt like I had a really good opportunity here to at least get through the 63 level, really down to the 100, because what we've seen lately is the 100 is king. Like for a while, the 20 was king. For a while, the 50 was king. Now it's the 100 moving average on the 100 EMA on the 5-minute chart. And it all started with VWAP. VWAP is not that significant anymore. It does still play a part, and people still trade off it, but for me and my trading is not that significant. And I know you'll call me a hypocrite once you see my next trade, but just know for me, the VWAP is not king anymore. It's the 100. So I kind of split the difference here and took profit just above the 100. I could have just held out, but this thing was spready at times, and it wasn't really the smoothest of trades. So I got profit here. Had a little bounce, and we sold off. I put this bid out because I had no idea if it was going to bounce or what it was going to do, because it was trading kind of funny down here. So I took some off here, and I almost put some out, to take a piece off here. But the way I'm trading now, I'm taking 2/3 off at my first target. And so by doing that kind of eliminated me from being able to take a piece here. I only had one piece left, and I was holding out for the 200. And it came within a couple of cents of hitting my order. Within a couple of cents. And so, like a stubborn jackass, I held on to it, that last piece, all the way up here. And once we were breaking VWAP, I took it off. And then I waited for kind of a pullback and hold. And this wasn't really a defined pullback. I was looking for it to pull back and hold over VWAP because I was looking for the move up here. But really, it wasn't so much VWAP. It was all of the support that I was looking for, to hold up. So I got in. It did pull back, but it held. And for a minute, it looked like we weren't going to get anywhere. And I was about to get pissed at VWAP. Now, I'm not respecting it. Now I'm starting to act stupid. But it did make a push up, but it got stuffed at 64. And it just wasn't enough for me to it wasn't a big enough move for me to take profit. So I was waiting, looking, maybe it'll pull back and push up again. And it pulled back, and it was holding pretty good. And then all of a sudden, we get a wash below the 100, and it stopped me out. And then we pulled back above it, but we never did break back out. So this is where I ended up giving back half my day, right here. But it's just one of those things where the litmus test I use is I look at this at the end of the day and I say, hey, if I saw this set up tomorrow, would I take it? And yeah, if I saw this tomorrow, I would take it again. And you've seen me trade this in the previous couple of weeks where I shorted it and I waited for it to get back over resistance, and it turns into support, and I buy it long and it kind of reverses trend the rest of the day. You've seen me trade this multiple times. I think this might have been the first time it didn't work. But it's not a product of bad strategy, just a product of the market. And you can see the volume was really low, but that's what we've been working with. That's what we've been dealing with these last several months, is this really low volume. But it is what it is. I feel good about the trading. This was just not the perfect scenario. This stock did not do me as perfect as I wanted to. No, it would have been beautiful if it hit the 200 here, and I'd have been stopped out. Hit that last profit target. But it is what it is. It's the market. We accept it and we move on. All right, so NTNX, this was a trend continuation I was looking for. But I was using the 5-minute opening range low. It wasn't a traditional 5-minute opening range breakdown. I waited for this because we were after 10 o'clock. I waited for this candle to close, and then I waited for this candle to start trading lower. And it did. And then it got bought right back up, and we came up. This almost stopped me out. This volatility spike here almost stopped me out. It came within cents of stopping me out. But this is just another case of why you need to make sure you have your volatility stop far enough away from the price action so that a volatility spike won't just up and take you out. So, and I've taught you guys how to calculate your volatility stop, or your hard stop, or your max loss stop, however you want to view it. But that's what the volatility stop is. And so we waited, and eventually it sat down, it came down, and it hit my first target here around 32.50. I think I got it at 55, 32.55. Then we got a bounce, and it came back and stopped me out at break even. Got a piece of this nice base hit on this, and that was about it. So ended the day up 283.34. Should have been up over $500. Maybe close. Nah, wouldn't have been 6. It'd have been maybe around 540, 550, somewhere in there. But unfortunately, that last trade kind of hurt. So, but better than what we've been doing the last week, or the last couple of days anyway. So I'm really encouraged. I don't know how tomorrow's gonna be, because tomorrow's the day before Thanksgiving. A lot of people will be traveling tomorrow, so I'm not expecting a lot of volatility tomorrow. And so for me, tomorrow's the last day of the week, and we'll see. Hopefully we'll have another strong day. But let's take a look real quick at the stocks we had on our watch. We had DLTR. Now, I didn't take this one because the RSI was below 20 at the open. And you can see it did make a nice opening range move. Okay, here's the opening range low. It kind of coincided with this level right here, this daily level at around 96.11. And had we got in and taken it, it would have been a nice move. But this was on SSR. It might have been tricky getting in. And I decided against this because the RSI was too low. It was on SSR. And we had all these other stocks that we were looking at. But you can see we came back, rejected it. It made a nice move. So if you had traded this all day, you got your initial move, which was really good. And then you got the rejection and trend continuation. Really, really nice for this all day. BBY, this was a surprise to me. I expected BBY and DLTR, not DLTR, BBY and DTR, which we'll look at in a minute. I expected those to actually sell off. But their guidance was a surprise to me. But you can see on BBY, we had the 5-minute opening range high right here. We had the pre-market high right here. And we had the 52-week high all together right here. So once we broke over it, this thing was in play. And look what it did all day long. This is one that you would have traded all day. I mean, practically all day. So really, really, really nice here. Really nice. So that was another one. If you pick this one and you traded it like I teach you how to trade these, you made a lot of money today. And a couple of traders, they have sent me their charts, and they're really happy. Oh, and that's another thing about this chat room. You can actually post your charts. So if you want to share your trades, you can actually post your charts. So that I really like that feature as well. But back to this stock, you can see here's the opening range, high and low here. Once we broke the opening range, we had enough room to take profit from there to the pre-market high. Then over the pre-market high, look at what it did. Really nice. Carbon copy of BBY. Just like we like it. Then you could have stayed in this, traded one stock, and be done. And that would have been it. So really, really good day. Like I was saying, the volatility was there. All right, guys. So that's going to wrap it up for me. I will catch you tomorrow. We'll close out this week, close out this year. Close out this month. Because when we come back Monday, it'll be December 2nd. And we'll be ready to finish this year strong. So you guys take care, be safe, and I'll see you in the morning.